said this idea for standing up for what is right, no matter the situation, was Singh Ji. One example of his courage is seen through the Battle of Jumkar, where despite being outnumbered, Guruji chose to stand tall and fight against the tyranny. He showed the world what it meant to protect the innocent and uphold justice. Dehe Shiva var mohe hain, Shubh karmante Shiva var mohe hain, Shubh karmante kabahu na daron aur saun jab jaye laro, Nischay kar apni jeet karo. O Waheguru, grant me this that we become victorious. Guruji asked for victory, not just over an external enemy, but an internal enemy. He asked for victory, not just over an external enemy, but an internal enemy as well. The victory over an internal enemy is transformation. The victory over an internal enemy is transformation. I believe transformation can happen with Guruji's blessings, Gurbani, Sangat, and self-effort. And Guruji's blessings and self-effort, you find a good Sangat. And a good Sangat can change one's thought process from bad. To good. One example of this transformation is of a man named Gangaram, who once was a game trainer. He heard that a religious place was being built where food was served to everyone. He wanted to help, so he went to Guruji and offered to serve food. Guruji asked him to donate 100 mounds of millet. This act of giving made Gangaram feel more connected to Guruji, and he began to Sangat and follow the teachings of Sikhi. Over time, his greed. Another example is by Bidhi Chandaji. He once was a notorious bandit who used to steal from others. But after meeting Guru Har Gobind Ji, he was so touched by Guruji's teachings of love and honesty. He gave up his life of crime and started doing honest work. His life completely changed because of Guruji's teachings. जो तो प्रेम खेलन का चाओ सिर धर तली गली मेरी आओ इत मार्ग पैर तरीजे सिर दीजे कान न कीजे. Guru Gobind Singh Ji says that if you desire to play the game of love, then step onto my path with your head in hand. When you step onto this path, give me your hand without any hesitation. Daughters, they don't hesitate to sacrifice their physical existence. They stand firmly in their faith, even in the face of death. They don't give up on what they believed in, even if it meant for dying for their beliefs. It wasn't just about dying, but having the courage to stand up for what is right. Sikhi teaches us that living a life is all about having belief, dedication, and commitment. Sikhi has three main principles that guide us in life. Sikhi principles are very easy to follow. Nam Japana. This means focusing on remembering and meditating on God's name. It is as simple as doing good deeds and being compassionate. By doing this, we stay connected to God and find peace. Kiritkani. This means living honestly and doing honest work. Sikhi teaches us to always earn our living with hard work and honesty, and not to cheat or steal from others. Vandashakana. This means sharing with others. We are taught to help those who are in need, share our food, money, and resources with others. This idea connects to the first principle of Nam Japana, or being compassionate. These three principles are simple but effective and are really easy to follow. You just have to believe in Sikhi and be committed to it. I will try to adopt all these lessons I learned from the book in my daily life by sharing, honest work, and remembering Waheguru wherever I go, and respecting people, and above all, doing good deeds for the rest of my life. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Next participant is Gracie Kaur.
Vaheguru, Vaheguru. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। सूरा सो पेछाणी जो लड़े दीन के है, पुरजा पुरजा कटमरै कभू न छाटे के। Dasam Pitta, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, fought several battles in his lifetime, driven by the principles of justice and freedom. He fought the battles, not for personal power or gain, but rather to safeguard the community from persecution. One of the main reasons he fought for was for defense against religious persecution and unprovoked attacks. Guru Sahib stood firm to safeguard the faith and resist forced conversions. Many battles, such as the Battle of Bangani, were defensive responses of attacks by Mughal forces and their allies. The second main reason he fought for was for establishing a just society. Guru Sahib was deeply committed to justice, equality, and fairness. His battles were often against tyranny, corruption, and any form of injustice, whether it came from Mughal rulers or local oppressors. I believe that people can change because of the Guru's blessings, Sangat, Gurbani, and self-effort. These elements work synergistically to uplift the mind, purify the soul, and guide an individual towards a life of purpose. The Guru's Kirpa opens the door for spiritual awakening and divine guidance. Gurbani serves as a roadmap for living a life of purpose. Sangat provides a supportive community, and self-effort ensures that the individual is actively engaging in the process of the transformation. Bhai Bidhi Chandji's life is a remarkable example of the transformation. The Guru's grace filled him with wisdom, and by embracing the teachings of Gurbani, he found strength and clarity, allowing him to shift his focus from worldly matters to spiritual growth. The Sakhi Bhai Ganga Ram also teaches us how the Guru's blessings filled him with a sense of purpose and devotion and guided him towards a more spiritually focused life. The mind's code of conduct is much more important than the code of conduct of the body. It suggests that our inner values, mental discipline, and principles take precedence over physical actions and behaviors. Our inner sense of what is right is more important than giving in to temporary pleasures or avoiding discomfort. If we read the Sakhis of our martyrs, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, and many others, their stories emphasize that the mind's moral and ethical framework is more important than the body's code of conduct. Their mental strength guided their actions, even in the face of suffering. Baba Zorawar Singh and Baba Fateh Singh Ji, at such young ages, showed their courage and determination and chose to sacrifice their lives rather than living a comfortable one. Sikh martyrs chose to sacrifice their lives in order to defend the values of justice, righteousness, and selflessness central to their faith. Their sacrifices often aim to resist oppression, protect religious freedoms, and stand for truth. Shahidi in Sikhi is viewed as a devotion to God, service to humanity, and a way to inspire future generations. They were inspired by the teachings of the Gurus, who exemplified courage, selflessness, and unwavering commitment to the truth. Sikh martyrs prioritized their spiritual duty over material comfort because they believed that their lives, guided by their principles, had a higher purpose. And they chose to live with honor and sacrifice, rather than compromise their beliefs for the sake of worldly pleasures. And they left us a powerful legacy of resilience, justice, and faith. Sikh principles can be challenging to follow because that requires deep commitment, discipline, and sometimes even going against traditional practices. Sikhs are taught to practice humility, equality, selflessness, and devotion to God. These values can be hard to live by in a world focused on material success and individualism. Our Sikhi foundation of Kirat Karna, Naam Japna, and Van Chakna were all laid down by our first Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Our Gurus taught us that the path to spiritual growth is a journey, and the effort itself brings its own rewards. However, the beauty of Sikhism lies in its emphasis on continuous improvement rather than perfection. With a strong sense of Sangat and Pangat, who share the same values and constant reflections on the teachings of Gurbani, the challenges of living according to Sikh principles can become a lot easier to manage. Our book teaches us some really powerful lessons. One of them is standing up for what's right. The stories of the Gurus and Sikh warriors showed how they fought against injustice and oppression, even when it meant risking their lives. True strength comes from sticking to your beliefs, even in the face of danger. These episodes demonstrate the importance of protecting justice and fairness, no matter the cost. The second lesson is the transformative power of the Guru's guidance. The Guru's teachings led people to a deeper understanding of their purpose in life, guiding them towards honesty, devotion, and spiritual growth. The third lesson is unity and equality. Sai Mir Mirji laid the foundation of Sri Darbar Sahib, and that shows that our Sikh Gurus have always encouraged equality. I can practice these lessons every day by remembering who I am, what my purpose is in this world, treating everyone around me with respect, practicing empathy, being a nirpal, and remembering that I'm a proud Sikh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Group call. Manrag Singh. Manreen Kaur. I'm sorry. Anantdeep Singh. Yeah, I have to open all of them to see. Agamveer Singh. Manraj Singh. Jia Kaur. Harjot Singh. Aprasjit Singh. Exactly. Akyum Kaur. Yes.
And Ikram. Ikram. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਦੇਗ ਦੇਗ ਫਤਿਹ ਪੰਥ ਕੀ ਜੀਤ। ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਏਕਮ ਕੌਰ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਟੀਚਿੰਗਸ ਅਤੇ ਲੜਾਈਆਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੀ। 10ਵੇਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਲੜਾਈਆਂ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਦੌਲਤ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਲਕਿ ਇਹ ਦਰਸਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਲੜੀ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਧਰਮ ਦਾ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸਿੱਖ ਧਰਮ ਦਾ one fundamental principle ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਸਮੁੱਚੀ ਮਨੁੱਖਤਾ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਅਤੇ ਸਮਾਜਕ ਦੇ ਆਧਾਰ 'ਤੇ ਵਿਤਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨ 'ਤੇ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਮਾਨਸ ਕੀ ਜਾਤ ਸਭੇ ਇੱਕ ਪਛਾਨਬੋ, ਜਿਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਜਾਤ ਮਨੁੱਖਤਾ ਤੋਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਏ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਪਹਾੜੀ ਰਾਜੇ ਅਤੇ ਮੁਗਲ ਐਮਪਾਇਰ ਨਾਲ ਲੜਾਈ ਲੜੀ। ਮੇਰਾ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਆਸ਼ੀਰਵਾਦ, ਸੇਵਾ ਅਤੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਦਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਦਲ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇ ਲਾਲਚ ਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ ਅਤੇ ਝੂਠ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼। ਫॉर एग्जाम्पल, ਗੰਗਾ ਰਾਮ ਬ੍ਰਾਹਮਣ, ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਗ੍ਰੇਨ ਸੈਲਰ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਕੋਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਗੰਗਾ ਰਾਮ ਬ੍ਰਾਹਮਣ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਤੇ 5ਵੇਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ। ਗੰਗਾ ਰਾਮ ਬ੍ਰਾਹਮਣ ਨੂੰ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਅਨਾਜ ਦੀ ਵੇਚਣ ਦੀ ਇੱਛਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਦੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆਵਾਂ ਲਰਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਪ੍ਰੀਚਰ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਵੈਲਥ ਸੈਕਰੀਫਾਈਸ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਉਦਾਹਰਣ ਹੈ ਸੇਨ ਮਿਆਨ ਮੀਰ ਇੱਕ ਕਾਜ਼ੀ ਦਾ ਪੁੱਤਰ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਬਚਪਨ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਗਾਉਣਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ। 1598 ਵਿੱਚ ਲਾਹੌਰ ਤਬਾਹੀ ਦੀ ਕਗਾਰ 'ਤੇ ਸੀ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਲਗਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਡਾਕਟਰੀ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕੀਤੀ। ਸੇਨ ਮਿਆਨ ਮੀਰ ਨੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਟੀਚਿੰਗ ਨੂੰ ਫਾਲੋ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਦੀ ਦੇਖਭਾਲ ਅਤੇ ਭੋਜਨ ਕਰਵਾਉਣਾ। ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਅਤੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਦਰਸਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਮਾਈਂਡਸ ਕੋਡ ਆਫ ਕੰਡਕਟ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ than the code of conduct of the body। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਸੁਖੀ ਜੀਵਨ ਜੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਸਨ, ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਿੱਖਿਆਵਾਂ ਲਈ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਰਬਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇੱਕ ਯੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਬਾ ਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਸਿਰ ਵੱਢ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ। ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਹੋਰ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਸੀਸ ਝੁਕਾਉਣਾ ਕਿ ਆਖਰੀ ਸਾਹ ਲੈਣ ਦੀ ਕਸਮ ਖਾਧੀ ਸੀ। ਇਹ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਉੱਠ ਅਤੇ ਲੜਨ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਅਤੇ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਖਰੀ ਸਾਹ ਲਿੱਤਾ। ਮੇਰਾ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਿਧਾਂਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਸਿੱਧੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੋਚ ਸਹੀ ਹੋਵੇ। ਸਹੀ ਮਾਈਂਡਸੈਟ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਚਨਬੱਧ ਹੋਣਾ ਅਤੇ ਡੈਡੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਿਖਾਉਣਾ। ਇਸ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਅਤੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਦੀ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਜਾਣਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਿੱਖਿਆਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਦਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਆਖਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਜਬ ਲਗ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਰਹੇ ਨਿਆਰਾ ਤਬ ਲਗ ਤੇਜ ਦਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਾ। ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਸੱਚਾਈ ਤੇ ਸਹੀ ਲਈ ਖੇਡਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਏ ਹੈ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਡਰ ਤੋਂ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ, ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
Next participant is Anhad Singh.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪਾਰਸ ਪਰਸਿਐ ਕੰਚਨ ਕਰੈ ਮਨੂਰ ਮਲੀਣਾ Throughout history, moments arise that challenge the very essence of justice and righteousness. True leaders emerge in these moments, not for power, not for conquest, but to defend the values that uphold humanity. Guru Gobind Singh Ji was one such leader, a beacon of strength and wisdom who stood unwavering against tyranny and solidified Guru Nanak Sahib Ji's message. Sad Sangat Ji, the legacy of Sikhi is not confined to just the history books. It lives in the hearts of those who carry forward its message of truth, equality, and unwavering faith. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru of the Sikhs, was not only a warrior, but a visionary leader, a poet, a saint. He dedicated his life to uplifting the downtrodden and protecting the sanctity of all faiths with unparalleled sacrifice. His battles were not for personal gain, but for upholding righteousness, stemming from three key reasons. One, defending religious freedom. Guru Sahib Ji fought against rulers who sought to impose their faith upon others. Yet Guru Sahib Ji ensured that all had the right to practice their religion freely. As stated in the book, Guru Gobind Singh Ji made it clear that no one should ever be forced into a faith against their will, and he was ready to sacrifice everything for this cause. Second, upholding justice and equality. The Guru's teachings and the formation of the Khalsa challenged the oppressive structures of those times. It led to resistance from those in power. The book states that the Khalsa was created to break the chains of inequality, to recognize no distinction of high or low, and to fight oppression wherever it existed. And three, preserving Sikh sovereignty. The Guru's growing influence among both Hindus and Muslims alarmed those in powers who sought to crush the Sikh movement before it could fully blossom. Baba Deep Singh, originally a devoted scholar of Gurbani, became a warrior when he realized the urgency, the need to defend Sikh values. According to the book, he took an oath to protect Shri Harmandir Sahib with his life. And even after receiving a fatal blow, he continued to fight with his head supported by his own two hands. Bhai Taru Singh similarly endured immense suffering, but he never wavered. The book describes that when given a choice between cutting his case or cutting his life, Bhai Taru Singh chose martyrdom, proving that his faith was beyond the reach of any worldly power. These warriors are not just names. They embody the spirit of Sikhi living through the generations. Their stories remind me that faith is not passive. It demands an action, it demands sacrifice, and it demands perseverance. The mind's code of conduct is more important than the code conduct of the body. The true essence of Sikhi is not in appearance alone, but in the purity of thought, the strength of the character, and the commitment to righteousness. The concept of Miri Piri and the ideal of the saint soldier illustrate that the meaning of Sikhi is not limited to just external appearances, but it is deeply rooted in one's thoughts, one's actions. The strength of character and the unwavering commitment to righteousness and the devotion to Vaheguru that defines a Sikh. It is this that martyrs understood very well. This principle, given the choice to forsake their faith in exchange for worldly comfort, they stood firm in their beliefs, choosing martyrdom over compromise. Martyrs gave up their lives to preserve truth, justice, and eternal values for ages to come. They understood the message from the Gurus and the Gursikhan di Shahidi, that at the right time, giving up life will save generations. The book states that their resolve in the face of suffering was an unshakable testament to their faith, proving that principles endure beyond the fleeting temptations of this world. Yet this does not mean that the path of a Sikh is not one of ease, but one of purpose. The principles of honesty, equality, and selfless seva require unwavering commitment. In a world filled with distractions, materialism, and deception, Staying true to Sikh values demands resilience. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji instilled in those who walk this path the courage to stand firm against injustice. Seva is not merely an act, it is the fabric of Sikh life. It is in the feeding of the hungry, the sheltering of the needy, and the defending of the weak that true purpose of Sikhi is realized. These principles have shaped my daily life in profound ways as well. Whether it is standing up for what is right, speaking the truth despite opposition, or offering help without expectation of reward, Sikh values are the foundation upon which I build my character. They have given me the confidence to remain firm in my beliefs, even when surrounded by doubt, and that the strength to walk the path of righteousness that Guru has given us, even when it is the hardest road to take. The legacy of Sikhism is carved in the sacrifices of its martyrs, in the battle that is fought for what is right, and the unwavering spirit of its followers. Guru Gobind Singh Ji's life is not just history. It is a call to action, a challenge to uphold truth, and an eternal flame of inspiration. Sikhi is not something to be spoken of, not to be lived, not something just to be remembered, but something that's to be embodied. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Harjot Singh.
Harjot Singh.
Waheguru. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru of the Sikhs, fought many battles. None of the battles fought were personal or for worldly material. It was battles of principles, Sikhi fundamentals. It was battles include protecting the innocents and protecting injustice. Guru Gobind Singh Ji was a peace lover. He didn't want to fight. He was against it. And he never fought to take over wealth. He fought only for his faith and peace. Matter of fact, of all the battles fought by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, none were started by Guruji. One important battle was the Battle of Pagani, the first battle fought by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. In 1688, near Paunta Sahib, it began when Raja Bhim Chand, a Bilaspur, refused to turn a special elephant that belonged to Guruji. Instead of returning it, he made more demands. When Guruji refused to give in to his greed, Bhim Chand became angry and joined forces with the other hill kings to attack. Even though Guruji's army was much smaller, they fought bravely with his blessings and won. Many Sikhs like Bhai Dayaram and Bhai Sango Shah sacrificed their lives. चिड़िया तू मैं बाज तराऊं 1.25 से 1 लड़ाऊं तबे गोविंद सिंह नाम कहाऊं. This means I will make sparrows fight hawks. I'll make one warrior stand up against 125,000. Only then I will be worthy of the name Gobind Singh. Guruji turned the weak into the strong and gave people the courage to stand up for what's right. For example, Bhai Udayparji was a rich man who cared about his wealth. One day he heard about Guru Gobind Ji and his followers, the Khalsa Sikhs, who were brave and dedicated. Curious, Bhai Udayparji went to meet the Guru in Anandpur Sahib. When he met the Guru, he was touched by the Guru's words about truth, fairness, and equality. The Guru taught that real strength comes from serving and standing up about what's right. Bhai Udayparji realized his old life wasn't as important. He decided to change and become a Khalsa Sikh, leaving his wealth behind and doing selfless seva. Guru Gobind Singh Ji changed people's lives into a better version of themselves. Another example I would like to share from this book is about Bhai Bidhi Chand Ji. Bhai Bidhi Chand Ji was a thief and greedy for wealth, but his life changed when he met the Guru Har Gobind Ji. The Guru touched his heart and made him change into a better man. He became a great Sikh. He even brought back the stolen horses from the Mughals by using his smart tricks and Guru's blessings. He also fought in battles and later taught other people about Sikhism. His story shows that anyone can become a better person with the right guidance. Guru Har Gobind Ji said, "Your mind is the strongest in the world. The mind's discipline and the faith in Guruji is greater than physical strength." Bhai Taruji Singh Ji was tortured but never abandoned Sikhi. His body suffered, but his mind remained unshaken. This shows that inner strength matters more than physical strength. Guru Granth Sahib Ji teaches, "Man jeete jag jeet." Conquer the mind, conquer the world. Sikhs have never abandoned their principles for comfort because their faith is more valuable than the comfort of life. Six gurus and their followers faced hardships to stand for justice and serve others. The core values of Sikhi, seva, selfless service, equality, and faith, were always prioritized over personal ease. A powerful example is Baba Deep Singh Ji, a great Sikh warrior who dedicated his life to protecting his faith. At 75, he led an army to defend the Harmandir Sahib. Even after his head was severed in battle, he kept fighting, holding his head in one hand and his sword in the other. He fought until he reached Harmandir Sahib, where he attained martyrdom, proving Sikhs never surrender, never give up, no matter how big or tough the challenge is. Living by Sikh principles takes effort and commitment. Khaneo tikhi walo niki et marg jana kur prasadi jini aap tajya har vasna samani kahe nanak chal pagta jugo jug narali. The spiritual path is sharper than a sword's edge and finer than a hair, very difficult to walk upon. Only by the Guru's grace can one renounce ego and merge into the love of Diwan. Says Nanak, the way of the devotees has always been hard and unique through all ages. Sikh path is not easy to follow, but with Guru Granth Sahib's guidance, it becomes a viable path. I have learned a lot from this book, and from this amazing book I have learned ways to remember Guru. That means doing good deeds and having the act of kindness. I have also learned to do Gurbani and seva at the Gurdwara. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khasa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Arshpreet Kaur.
Arshpreet? Huh? Okay. Harsimar Kaur? Judges, we are going to get started. Ready? Start करें.
वाहिगुरु. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The Battle of Pangani was the first battle fought by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, which took place on April 15th, 1687. Guruji's army was not as big as the Pahari Raja's army. Before we dive deeper into the battles that Guru Gobind Singh Ji has fought, let's discuss the reasons behind why the battles even happened. Ever since Guru Nanak Dev Ji started teaching the world about the principles of Sikhism, the Brahmins and the Pahari Rajas started to think of him as their enemy and began to attack the Sikh institutes. These fights were at their peak by the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. To protect Sikhism, Guruji and his Sikhs started to prepare for their battles. They learned horse riding, use of weapons, and gatka. These made the enemies jealous. Secondly, Langar Pratha was already intolerable for the Brahmins. They were looking for a reason to put up a fight with the Sikhs. This was another reason for the Pahari Rajas to be envious. Guruji received rare gifts such as Prashad the elephant and a very valuable canopy. The sound of Ranjit Nagada and the beauty of the Darbar Sahib was another way to make the Pahari Rajas jealous. On top of that, Guruji started to suggest the Pahari Rajas to work for the entire humanity and not only for their community. These are only a few reasons why the battle arose, but there are many more. Pahari Rajas began to steal Guruji's followers. Soon, many Pathans and hill leaders left Guruji's army, and it decreased. Still, Sikhs fought for their rights and helped hill leaders to believe in Guruji's propaganda again. I believe that a person's mindset can be changed through the teachings and sangat of Guruji. As I stated before, Guruji went up to the hills and taught people about Sikhi principles. He was brave enough to do this even though his army had already fought Pahari Raja's army before. He had taught them about taking care of humanity and avoiding discrimination at all costs. His teachings and suggestions were to teach them about living with honor, self-respect, and to abolish slavery. Medni Prakash, the Singh of Sirmaur state, was very impressed by his Gurmat. Medni Prakash requested Guruji to come to his state and preach about Sikhism. Guruji accepted the offer and this place was named as Paonta Sahib. Sangat used to gather in Paonta Sahib and would sing kirtan, do gatka and hunt. As an example of Guruji's Sangat is the incident related to Ganga Ram Brahman. He was a man that sold grains in the langar, but he was so impressed by Gurmat and Sangat that he asked Guruji to let him stay there. He got converted into Sikhi by Guruji and sacrificed his wealth for the service of him. The second question asks why martyrs chose to give up comfort and sacrifice their lives. I believe that martyrs sacrificed their lives to protect Sikhism and keep the culture alive. They wanted to emphasize justice and freedom of faith. Guru Arjan Dev Ji and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji sacrificed their lives to protect the right for religious freedom for all. The Char Sahibzade, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, and many others chose martyrdom rather than compromising with the tyrant rulers. Sikhs believe in standing for truth and oppose injustice, even at the cost of their lives. This Sikh principle is called Dharam Yodh. The statement, mind's code of conduct is more important than the body's code of conduct, is true because the mind is part of the body that controls everything. Without the mind, we wouldn't have the body. Like I said before, the mind controls everything, so we wouldn't be able to do anything because the mind tells us what to do. On another note, if you don't have a healthy mind, you won't have a healthy body.
This is just like Gurmat and Sangat. If you don't have Gurmat, you can't have Sangat. If you don't have a mind, you can't have a body. The third question is asking about the importance and difficulty of following the principles of Sikhi. I believe that the Sikh principles are easy to follow, but some can get a little hard to follow at all times. For example, taking care of our case. Since we don't cut our hair, it can get tangled easily. But if we take good care of it, we can show people how much we respect our culture. We don't cut our hair because God blessed us with hair, so why should we get rid of it? This also relates to the second question about the mind and body. The Sikhi principles are also mind and body. If you wear a turban or dastar, you're showing Sikhi. If you're wearing a kada, you're showing Sikhi. The same goes with Kes, Kirpan, and Kashara. This shows that we have a strong mind and respect for our culture. Some valuable lessons that I have learned from the book are blessings of Guruji and putting efforts into believing in the Sikhi lifestyle. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Arshpreet Kaur.
Aprasjit Singh.
Vaheguru. Yeah, I'm good. Start.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, our 10th Guru, fought many battles, none of which were for personal gain or power, but to fight injustice, eradicate the caste system, and reinforce the core principles of Sikhism. These principles include fighting for justice, standing up against oppression, and treating all human beings as equal. Sikhism teaches that everyone, regardless of their caste, gender, or background, is equal in the eyes of Vaheguru. A person's life can change completely through self-effort and the guidance of Gurbani. However, the speed of this transformation depends on Guruji's will. A great example is Baba Bidhi Chand Ji, who was once a thief, but with Guruji's blessings became spiritual and kind-hearted. Similarly, Ganga Ram was inspired by seeing the Sikh Sangat engaged in langar and felt a deep urge to help. By serving the Sangat, he became devoted to the Guru and transformed his life. These Sakis show us that no matter where we start in life, Guruji's teachings and blessings can guide us towards goodness. The mind's code of conduct is more important than the code of conduct of the body. While discipline is necessary for both mind and body, controlling the mind must come first. The body follows the thoughts of the mind. Good thoughts lead to good actions. Guruji also wrote in Japji Sahib, Man Jeete Jagjeet, which means that if you can conquer your mind, you can conquer the world. If we purify our minds through Gurbani, meditation, and self-discipline, our actions will naturally reflect those virtues. History has shown us that true Sikhs always prioritize their principles over worldly fears. Martyrs give up their life not for personal benefit, but for the welfare of humanity. They believe that standing up for the truth is worth any sacrifice. Example of this is Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, who sacrificed his life to protect the religious freedom of Kashmiri Hindus. He demonstrated that standing up against tyranny is a duty that even at the cost of one's own life has to be fulfilled. His sacrifice is a reminder that we must always uphold justice no matter the difficulty. Following Sikh principles is not always easy. Without Guruji's blessing, it can feel challenging to stay on the right path. However, when we take the first step, Guruji helps us, making everything easier. That is why Sangat, Naam, and Seva are so important. These three things have the power to completely transform our lives. When we are in the company of the Sangat, we are surrounded by positive influences which strengthen our faith and character. When we meditate on Vaheguru's name, our mind becomes peaceful and focused. And when we engage in seva, we develop humility and compassion, realizing that true happiness comes from serving others. The lessons I've learned from this book is that anyone can change their life for the better. No matter where we start, with the right guidance, faith, and effort, we can become better people. Sikhism teaches us to stand up for the truth, fight injustice, serve others selflessly, and live honestly. If we commit to these values, we will not only improve our own lives, but also be able to encourage others to live truthfully. Sache aur sab ko upar sach char, which means that truth is higher than everything, but higher still is truthful living. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Manreen Kaur.
Vaheguru. साध संगत जी, वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। चू कर az hama, hilte dargujast, halal ast purdan, va shamshir dast. When all paths are closed and all hope has passed, the only option left is to fight. Guru Gobind Singh Ji fought many battles against the Mughal forces and created the Khalsa, a society founded on equality and devoted service to Vaheguru. Under Guru Gobind Singh Ji's leadership, the influence of Sikhism grew, leading to clashes with Mughal authorities. The Khalsa was formed to defend Sikh rights and fight against oppression. Guruji fought in significant battles like Anandpur, Chamkaur Sahib, and Muktsar, showcasing the bravery and sacrifice of Sikh warriors. These fights were challenging, but demonstrated the Sikhs' unwavering faith in Sikhism and Vaheguru. Episodes from Sikh history teach us that a great life can be transformed by Sangat, Gurbani, and above all, Guru's blessing. Sadh ke sang sab kul adare, Sadh sang sajan mit katam nistare, Sadh ke sang sotan pave, Jis tante sabko virsave. Many lives were transformed by miracles of our gurus. One of them was Gangaram Brahmin, who had visited Guru Kachak, driven by his greed for wealth. He was a trader who had come to earn money and become rich, but because he was so infatuated with love and faith for Guruji that he sacrificed his own home and wealth for the service to Guruji. Another example I want to quote is of Langa Singh Ji, who had a daily routine of offering a pot of curd to Guruji. To test his dedication, Guruji traveled to Amritsar without informing him. Langa Singh Ji also had set off to Amritsar only to learn that Guruji had now gone to Tarantara. In doing so, Pai Sahib walked 40 miles to give his offering to Guru Sahib, showing great patience and faith. In life, both the mind and body's code of conduct play an important role. However, a disciplined mind is even more crucial than a disciplined body. A strong, disciplined mind helps you face challenges, maintain faith, achieve goals, and make wise decisions. Our Sikh warriors who sacrificed their lives to uphold their faith, principles, and fight against injustice are great examples. Sura so pachane je lare deen ke het, purja purja kat mare kabo na chade khet. Two young sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Sahibzada Zorawar Singh Ji and Sahibzada Fateh Singh Ji, aged just 9 and 7, became martyrs at the hands of cruel rulers. Their bravery continues to inspire Sikhs and their children to follow in the footsteps of these young Sahibzadas, standing firm in faith and courage no matter what the threat. Without any doubt, Sikh women like Mata Gujari Kaur Ji also played an equal part in the struggle to keep alive the Khalsa ideals and beliefs. These sacrifices will never be forgotten, and the stories of these sacrifices will always help build the character of Sikh youth today and for generations to come. The principles of Sikhism, such as empathy, equality, service to humankind, and devotion to God, can both be straightforward and challenging to follow. The essence of these core teachings is very simple. They teach us about kirt karna, naam japna, and vand shakna. If one is committed to these, they provide a clear path to simple life with moral and spiritual growth. But in today's world, human is so attached to materialistic things, his own selfish gains, that he lacks empathy. Inequality, self-focused mindset has taken precedence over humility. Therefore, while the principles themselves are beautiful, living them often requires a lot of inner strength. A valuable lesson that I learned from the book Selected Episodes from Sikh History is how dedicated, disciplined, and courageous our Sikh warriors were. Their selfless mindset, where they prioritize Sikh principles over anything else, is commendable. I am blessed and proud to be born as a Sikh, and I will try my best to follow Guruji's teachings by starting my day with Vaheguru's Naam Simran, respecting all people for their caste and race, trying my best to lead a life of honesty, defending my rights, and always helping those less fortunate. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
We'll take 5 minutes break before the next group starts.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਫੋਰਥ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਜੱਜਿਸ ਤੇ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਪੈਂਟਸ ਸਾਰੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਆ ਜਾਓ। ਫੋਰਥ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਜੱਜਿਸ ਤੇ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਪੈਂਟਸ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗਰੁੱਪ 4 ਦਾ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਹਾਂ। ਗਰੁੱਪ 4 ਦੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਬੇਸਡ ਨੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਗੁਰਬਖਸ਼ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਕਾਲਡ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆਫ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ on Japji Sahib. I'll just say the 3 questions on which all the speeches will be based. First question is, The first two pauris of Japji Sahib focus on hukam. What is hukam? How do you accept hukam in your daily life? If everything is in Vaheguru's hukam, do we have any free will? Second question, the 15th pauri of Japji Sahib references Mokh Dwar. What is Mokh Dwar? How do we find Mokh Dwar? What prevents us from finding Mokh Dwar? Question 3 is, Ek Onkar embodies the idea of oneness. Based on what you have learned from Japji Sahib, how have you lived your life so far? What do you need to improve to achieve oneness? Good luck to all the participants. Judges, are you ready? First participant is Nanki Kaur.
Vaheguru. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Nanki Kaur, and today I'm honored with you to share with you the understanding of the key concepts of Sikhism. Hukam, free will, Mokh Dwar, and Ik Onkar and oneness as expressed through Gurbani and my personal experiences. These teachings not only shape my faith, but also guide how I live my life with compassion, humility, and deep commitment to community. In Sikhism, hukam refers to the divine command or will of God. It is often understood as the natural order or a cosmic law that governs everything, from the movement of the stars to the way we live our lives. However, some may wonder, does hukam mean that we are deprived of free will? Gurbani teaches us that while we are part of divine hukam, we still possess the freedom to choose how we respond to it. A beautiful verse from the Guru Granth Sahib offers clarity on this. Ek panda jaye chal, sat guru kot pande aage hoye late hai. This means that when we take one step towards God, God takes countless steps towards us. This verse highlights the ability to choose the first step and the divine grace that amplifies our efforts. Therefore, free will is not in conflict in hukam, but it is a part of it. The divine hukam doesn't take away our choices. It simply shows us the way, and it is up to us to act in alignment with that truth. By living in harmony with hukam, we can use our free will to make choices that bring us closer to the divine and lead us to a life of peace and purpose. Mokh Dwar, or the gateway to liberation, is a central concept in Sikhism. It represents the state of being where one connects with God and experiences salvation, a state of inner peace and spiritual freedom. This is not obtained through rituals, but through living a life of truth, humility, and devotion. In Gurbani, the teachings are clear. We find Mokh Dwar by focusing on Naam Japna, Kirt Karni, and Vanke Shakna. These actions help cleanse the mind and soul, allowing us to detach from the ego and the material distractions that keep us from experiencing Mokh Dwar. However, the greatest barrier to Mokh Dwar is our ego. Gurbani reminds us, Man mukh karaj na aave, Guru ka hukum na mana. This means that the self-centered person with ego and selfishness will not succeed in their spiritual journey with God. The ego keeps us focused on worldly desires and materialism and blocks us from the true guidance that God gives us in achieving Mokh Dwar. Through selfless service like seva, devotion, and an understanding of our true nature, we can rise above the distractions of the world and experience a deeper connection with God. This journey towards Mokh Dwar is a personal one, also a collective one, because the more we serve others, the closer we become to ourselves and with Vaheguru.
This leads me to Ikunkar, oneness of God and humanity. One of the most profound statements in Sikhism is Ikunkar, there is only one God. We call this God many different names, Vaheguru, Allah, or just God. But the main point is that this God is one. It unifies us and unifies people all over, regardless of race, gender, or religion. It tells us that we are all connected by this same divine force. As I live my life, I strive to embody this understanding of oneness by treating every individual with equality, respect, and compassion. Sikhism teaches us to see the divine presence in all, and this has deeply influenced the way I interact with the world, community, and myself. Whether it's through volunteering at the Gurdwara, teaching children Punjabi and Sikh history, or simply offering help to a neighbor, I've learned that true spirituality lies when we uplift each other and work as a community. This practice of seva is one of the most tangible ways to live out this principle. It's not just about giving material things, but also showing love, compassion, respect, and offering your time and energy to the people around you. For me, helping teach the younger generation about our faith and culture is a way of bringing people closer together and reinforcing the belief that we are all united under one God. However, I also recognize that there are room for improvement in this area. At times, I find myself becoming overly focused on material things, focusing on ego, whether it's personal achievements or possessions. But as I reflect on the teachings of Gurbani, I remind myself that the oneness with God and humanity comes from caring for each other more than fleeting things of the world. The more I align my actions with the values of Ikunkar, the more I cultivate a sense of unity with everyone, regardless of their background, status, race, religion, age, or gender. We have to create a family. Ikunkar is all about being one with everyone around you and having a family to guide and live with and live in a unified manner. In conclusion, Sikhism teaches us to live with humility, to make choices that align with the divine will, to seek liberation through connection with God, to recognize the oneness of all beings. It is a faith that encourages free will, but one that also guides us towards a life of service, compassion, and spiritual growth. By following the principles of Hukum, embracing the teachings of Nam Simran, practicing Seva, and living the truth of Ikunkar, we can find peace in ourselves and contribute to the greater good of society. As I continue my journey, I strive to keep these teachings in mind. I know that I will never be perfect, but each step I can become closer to God and continue my spiritual journey. Thank you for your time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Next participant is Kirpa Kaur.
Waheguru, yes.
Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. So Hukam is fundamentally Waheguru's order, or will. I personally accept Hukam in my life by understanding that whatever happens is for the best. Now, I haven't had anything to accept as difficult as my parents have had to accept, but for me, it's as simple as accepting a bad grade on a quiz I studied pretty well for. For example, a week ago, I went to biology class. Near the end of class, the teacher slipped everyone the quizzes we had done last week. She slipped my sheet to me face down and upside down. I took a small covert peek at my grade. I read an F. So I accepted Waheguru's Hukam because I had done my best and stuffed it deep into the bottom of my backpack. Maybe Waheguru had just wanted to teach me a lesson. And really, how much of my grade could an 8-point quiz really be? Later, when I got home, I took a proper look at the thing. It was not an F. It was the number 7 out of 8. Now, it was much easier to accept Waheguru's Hukam then than half an hour before. Yet, my opinion didn't matter. Either way, what happened did happen. I could have panicked and run around in circles when I saw my grade, but my grade would have still remained the same. Hukm andar sabko, baad hukm na koi. I can't escape Hukam, so really it only matters to me how I accept it. So this raises another question. Do we have any free will if everything is Waheguru's Hukam? First, let's go over the definition of Hukam one more time. Hukam is everything under Waheguru's will. Those could be the very solid laws of our universe, like gravity or the conservation of energy, or the less tangible ones, like the cycle of life and Karam. Free will, on the other hand, is us being able to do what we wish. For example, me raising my hand right now. This is me doing what I wish to do. This is my Hukam. But whatever we do is under Waheguru's Hukam. That is non-negotiable. But that doesn't necessarily mean that whatever we do is the only choice that is within Waheguru's Hukam. For example, somebody jumps off a cliff. Jumping was the person's free will, but Hukam was the gravity that made them fall. A useful metaphor I got after talking to my dad is that Hukam is an umbrella, and free will are the roads under that umbrella. Another simile I got from my brother is that Hukam is the branching roads, and free will is the choice between those roads. Simply put, we do have free will, but we cannot do anything that is not within Waheguru's Hukam. This is important to remember because otherwise you're implying that a person's own, possibly wrong decision is not their responsibility since it's Waheguru's Hukam. If there was no free will, there would also be no need for the system of Karam. It is also important to keep Hukam in mind in the context of ego. The actions you take may be your free will, but any results from those actions are Waheguru's grace, which is why taking credit and inflating your ego with that success isn't right. It's always by Waheguru's grace. This leads to the concept of Mokdwar, since accepting Hukam is crucial to reaching it. Mokdwar means gate to salvation, marking the end of the cycle of birth and death. It isn't a physical gate or door, but a mental state, where Waheguru's will is always sweet. According to Japji Sahib, Manne Pave Mokdwar, which translates to the one who accepts the will of Waheguru finds the gate to salvation. So accepting Waheguru's will or Hukam is the final step that leads you to Mokdwar. Before that, doing Naam Simran helps you clear your mind and accept Waheguru's Hukam through introspection. And you need the most important ingredient, Waheguru's grace. Some things also slow progress towards Mokdwar though, like Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ankar, like we all know, along with duality and doubt. Doing Naam and remembering Hukam helps conquer these vices. The idea of oneness is crucial to reaching Mokdwar too, since it helps you accept the will of Waheguru if you keep it in mind. The concept of oneness is remembering that Waheguru is in everyone. A line from Gurbani that speaks of this is Har bin aur na dekha, which means that all that can be seen is Waheguru. This is a state where, looking at other people, places, and things, all you can see is the soul that is part of Waheguru. Another line from Gurbani that covers this concept is Sab antarjami Brahm hai Brahm visai sabte manda kisnu akhye sabad vike livlaye. Waheguru is the knower of all hearts and abides everywhere. With love in your heart for Waheguru, who could you possibly call evil? This is a really important concept, since remembering that Waheguru is in all makes it impossible to ever hurt anyone. Personally, I find seeing every Waheguru in everyone difficult, and I often just forget about it. But I always end up remembering again after I need to cope with a situation completely out of my control. It helps me understand that whatever happens is okay.
As far as what I need to improve to achieve oneness, I think I need to improve a lot. I need to do more part, do Nithnimit Amrit Vela, keep Guruji's teachings in mind, do seva that has nothing to do with college admissions, and probably just be a nice person in general. But Sikhi is a process and a journey, and hopefully with Vaheguru's grace, I'll be there eventually. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Simardeep Kaur. Can you make a little?
Vaheguru. गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जी गज के फतेह दी सांझ पाओ वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की fateh. In Sikhism, the hukam of Akal Purakh is supreme and nothing is out of his hukam. Hukmi hovan akar, hukam na kiya jaye. Hukmi hovan ji, hukam mile vadiyai. Hukmi uttam neech, hukmi likh dukh sukh paiye. Ek na hukmi baksis, ek hukmi sada pavaiye. Hukme andar sab ko, bar hukam na koi. Nanak hukme je buje, ta home ke na koi. By his command, bodies are created. His command cannot be described. By his command, souls come into being. By his command, glory and greatness are obtained. By his command, some are high and some are low. By his written command, pain and pleasure are obtained. Some by his command are blessed and forgiven. Others by his command wander aimlessly forever. Everyone is subject to his command. No one is beyond his command. O Nanak, one who understands his command does not speak in ego. Hukam, pavitr niyam. The concept of hukam is central to understanding the nature of existence, the relationship between the individual and the divine, and the guiding principles of life. Hukam governs everything in the universe, from the movement of celestial bodies to the cycle of birth and death. Many aren't able to accept hukam, reality. And because we are living in a conflict between our mind and the world, we suffer in pain. Hukam na jane bota ove. One who does not know the hukam of the Lord's command cries out in terrible pain. Our mind is living a different reality, a fantasy. We want this to happen, we want that to happen. But when things don't work out the way we want, bota ove. We become upset. Why? not because there's something wrong with what is happening outside, but what we haven't understood what is happening outside should be happening inside. There's a conflict. Kiv sachiyara hoiye, kiv kure tutte paal. So how can you become truthful? And how can the veil of illusion be torn away? Guruji says, Hukam rajai chalana. Walk along the path of hukam. Paana manana. Practicing acceptance. Instead of resisting, we can remind ourselves that everything unfolds according to hukam. Letting go of ego, hankar, nitnem and simran, seva and compassion, chardi kala vich rehna. And most importantly, living by Gurmat principles. Follow the teaching of Gurbani in your everyday decisions. Karmi apo apni ke nede ke dur. According to their own actions, some are drawn closer and some are driven further away. In Makkah, they asked Guruji, Puchan fol kitab nu Hindu vada ke Musalmanohi. Look through your book. Who is greater, Hindu or Musliman? Guru Nanak Padshah answered, Baba aake hajiyan shub amala bajo dono roi. Without good deeds, both will have to weep and wail, no matter what label they hold above their head. This means we have a free will of decision making, but we cannot control the outcome. Manne pave mok dwar. Manne pave means to obtain. Mok dwar means the door to mukti, the door to liberation. In the fourth party, a question was raised. Fir ke agge rakhiye jit dise darbar. What offering should we make that we can see this divine court? What words can we say? Muh ke bolan boliye jit suntare pyar, that we may feel your love. And the answer was given. Amrit vela sach now vadiyai vichar. We focus on this at the beginning of every single day. That's the offering. And you make an offering and commitment towards Naam and Vichar. Karmi ave kappada nadri mok dwar. With grace, if you continue on this path, with grace, you have already obtained your body. And with grace, you will find liberation. In verse 4, Guru Nanak Dev Ji lays out this path and says, go down this path. And with grace, you will find what you are looking for. We're reminded at the end of every verse in the body of Manne of what the characteristic of being Mok Dua is. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar. Lust, becoming the slave of your desires. Anger undermines the thinking ability. Greed, a desire which cannot be quenched. Attachment, the desire toward worldly possessions and relations. Ego, excessive pride. The 5 thieves that steals one focus from the divine and hinders spiritual progress when not controlled. Every step of the journey is Naam Simran. Every step of the journey says, Tu hi. You are the path. You are the explorer. You are the beginning, middle, and the end of your journey. So far in my journey, when certain things have gone against my intentions, it has been hard to cope. Many times my emotions have taken over me. For instance, when my Dadaji passed away, I was upset thinking Vairuji untimely took him away. I was attached to a person, Mo. But after understanding the true meaning of Hukam and the true meaning of Mokdwar and truly understanding the meaning of Japji Sahib, acceptance has become easier to acknowledge, enabling me to become more prepared for the next step of my journey. Koi vi insan kade vi sampurn nahi hunda te mere vich vi kei aunataiyan han. मैं सिरजनहार दी सिरजना नू एक नज़र ना देखण दा जज्बा अपनाउणा चाहुंदी हां. अवल अल्लाह नूर उपाया कुदरत के सब बंदे एक नूर ते सब जग उपजिया कौन भुले को मंदे. लोगा परम ना भुलो पाई खलक खालक खालक में खलक पूर रहो सर्ब थाही. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Ishveer Singh,
Vaheguru. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Hukam, its existence and its impacts are a fiercely contested topic today, and I feel fortunate to be able to present my own view. Foremostly, as always, let's look to Gurbani. Kif sach yare hoye, kif kure tutte pal, hukam rajaye chalna, nanak likhe na. From these, Vaheguru paves the path to understanding our purpose, our meaning in life. We are to surrender ourselves to hukam, to God's will. But what are we surrendering ourselves to? What truly is hukam? Well, I find Vak to best demonstrate this answer. In Vak, we receive direct orders from the Gurus. We open the Guru Granth Sahib and we take guidance from a random page. Hukam is integral to this process. Because we remove our influence from the act, we surrender the outcome to Vaheguru, to God's will, to hukam. Hukam, therefore, is the cosmic order, the underlying law that governs the universe, the purest form of Vaheguru's voice and will. In Japji Sahib, hukam is used to detach one from expectation and tells us that every day we must instill within ourselves a perpetual sense of contentment, free of all expectations. Yes, Vaheguru wants us to act, to be guided by Sikhi principles. However, no matter the purity of our purpose, the innocence of our intentions, Vaheguru will not always give us what we desire. And that's okay. Because in the same way that an ant cannot conceive the size of its forest, we cannot understand the true depth of our existence. Thus, we trust in hukam, in Vaheguru's omniscient view of the universe as a whole. And we trust and are taught from Japji Sahib that everything that happens is right because God has willed it so. Hukam is a wonderfully complex ideal. However, its implementation into daily life is actually rather simple. To trust in the journey, not in the destination. For example, to start at a small scale, last year I had a soccer tournament in San Antonio. We had driven for 5 hours Friday night and woken up early on Saturday, only to find that the whole tournament had been cancelled due to weather. At the time, I was extremely disappointed, but I accepted it and went home and studied for an economics competition. Now, this year, I won that economics competition thanks to my studying from last year from that test. So, in the moment, although I was sad, in the wider picture, dictated by hukam, Vaheguru gave me the true best outcome. And when I really realized this, I was able to accept Hukam in my personal life. However, Hukam doesn't control everything. I still made the conscious decision to go home and study. What Hukam does control, what Hukam does affect, is the outcomes, the impacts of our actions. In the 15th Pori of Japji Sahib, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Mane pave muktavar. Muk meaning salvation, Davar meaning the gate of. Thus, once we enter Muktavar, we attain salvation. We achieve eternal peace in Vaheguru's presence and are freed from the continuous cycle of life and death. In order to find Muktavar, we must liberate ourselves from bad deeds. And Gurbani lists the 5 main vices that prevent us from doing so. Is dehi andar panj chor basai. Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, hankar. Kam, desire for what we don't possess. Krodh, excessive frustration and anger. Lobh, greed. Moh, excessive attachment for and ownership to items. And hankar, ego. To conquer these vices, we must wage an eternal battle within our minds against them to control our actions. Jin mil mare pan surve, aise kan balere. Guruji asked for a warrior who can defeat these 5 evil forces, and fortunately, Vaheguru has provided us with the weapons to wage war against evil and achieve Muktavar. Firstly, he has given us Sat, truthful character, Santok, contentment, Daya, compassion and kindness, Dharam, unity and desire for the greater good, and finally, Sach, the supreme truth. We use Sat to fight Kam. Truthful, charitable living dispels any excessive material wants. For Lobh, greed, Daya is used, as compassion curbs our greed. For Krodh, anger, we use Santok and allow contentment to mellow all of our frustrations. For Moh, attachment, Dharam is used, and desire for the greater good trumps any trivial self-ownership or belongings. And finally, for Hankar, egoism, we fight it with Sach, the truth of the universe, the truth of our existence, the truth that dispels any ideas of self, Ek Onkar. At the heart of Japji Sahib lies Ek Onkar, the belief in the one divine creator. Recognizing the oneness of the divine transforms how we perceive the world around us. Ek Onkar encourages us to lose ourselves and to acknowledge the unity that flows throughout the cosmos. However, knowing is often not the same as doing. Though from birth I've recited Ek Onkar and been taught its meaning, there's still ample space for me to improve, specifically within my internal dialogue. I've striven to embody Ek Onkar, to treat everyone I meet as part of my family or friends. I focus on living a kind, polite, empathetic life. And in this last year, I've done over 100 hours of community service work. However, on this journey, I've lost sight of my foremost goal, unity. When I see others sin, when I see others fall prey to the 5 vices, I automatically label them as lazy, mal-hearted, and rude. However, remembering Ek Onkar and the underlying unity woven between us, other sins are my sins, and my sins are their sins. Therefore, when I believe myself to be morally superior than someone else, I lose sight of Ek Onkar and fall prey to ego. Just as the ocean currents swirl dirty trash from a dirty beach and taint a pristine coast on the other side of the world, Ek Onkar connects us all within the universe. Thus, it's our duty to cleanse ourselves so we don't dirty others, and to cleanse others so we don't dirty ourselves. When I see someone act wrong, I must work to help them see the light. The wisdom taught from Hukam, Muktavar, and Ek Onkar has been illuminated by the Gurus through Japji Sahib, our God-given compass to the universe. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Tejas Singh.
Vaheguru. आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह Sad Sangat ji, what is hukam? Hukam is derived from the Arabic word meaning command or divine order. In Sikhism, hukam represents the goal of becoming harmonious with the will of God and thus obtaining inner peace. It is by the command of Vaheguru that we are born and pass away. Hukam refers to those cosmic laws that govern the entire universe, leading us to truthfulness. These laws are enforced at every level of existence. Hukam also has different meanings in Gurbani, like Raza and Bana. For a Sikh, dwelling the mind in Gurbani and practicing its true meaning in daily life is following the Guru's hukam. So how must we follow hukam? Hukme andar sabko, bar hukam na koi. Nanak hukme je buje, ta home kehna koi. First, we need to acknowledge that all of us are subject to his hukam, and no one is beyond his hukam. We will have to surrender our body, mind, wealth, ego, and everything to the Guru, and that's how we will accept hukam in our daily life. Give sachiara hoye, give kure tutte pal. So how can we become truthful, and how can the veil of illusion be torn away? In the next verse, Guru Nanak answered, Hukam rajai chalna, Nanak likhya naal. We should obey the hukam of his command and walk in the ways of his will. So then the question arises, with hukam, do we have any free will? Hukam in daily life is a concept that needs to be learned and understood, and is practiced by bringing one's thinking in line with hukam. It does not mean that we should sit ideal and not have a free will. We can follow our goals as long as we are honest, truthful, and ready to embrace and accept the outcome of his hukam with no resistance. Tera bana meetha lage. Sad Sangat ji, Vaheguru has given us free will to become Gurmukh or Manmukh. It is up to us to practice our free will and make choices and decisions to overcome our ego by following the teachings of the Guru. Instead, some people remain self-centered, consumed by greed and ignorance. Manne pave mokh duar. One who is faithful will find mokh duar. But what is mokh duar? Is it a physical door, or is it something we encounter after death, high above in the sky? Or is it a metaphorical door, which opens once all the holes in our body are closed? Sad Sangat ji, in Sikh teachings, Mokh Duar is often described as the ultimate goal of spiritual learning, where the soul merges with the divine after transcending ego, attachments, and worldly desires. The gate is symbolic, representing the spiritual state that allows entry into eternal peace and freedom. It is a concept in which the aspect of realization of God changes and lifts the devotees, merging the individual soul with the supreme soul. Bani says, Jeko man jane mankoi. Achieving Mokh Duar is associated with the realization of God's presence, having faith,
following hukam, doing nam simran, selfless service, and living a life of humility and compassion. It also emphasizes that liberation is not achieved through ritualistic practices, but through devotion, living a truthful and righteous life, and meditating on God's name. Anger, greed, attachment, and ego are obstacles which prevent us from achieving the state of Mokh Duar. No individual can reach this stage without taming the world of inner chaos. Garmi ave kapra, nadri Mokh Duar. Essentially, if we don't cleanse our mind of any lingering manmukh traits, we will be unable to receive His grace, obstructing our path to Mokh Duar. Ikonkar represents the concept of unity, highlighting the indivisible and singular nature of the divine, while also rejecting any notion of separation of God. It also carries the message of equality, emphasizing that we are all equal in the eyes of Vaheguru. Gura ik dei bujai, sabna jia ka ik data, so mein visar na jai. Japji Sahib has taught me a wide range of spiritual, ethical, and philosophical lessons that guide my daily life. Here are some of the key teachings I follow. Oneness of God, Ikonkar. Satnam, His name is the only truth, and it is our goal to live our lives reflecting that truth. Doing Nam Simran. This practice nurtures spiritual awareness and helps us detach from distractions in our daily life. Humility and service. We engage in community service by participating in initiatives like Sandwich Seva and helping with samagams, embracing the value of humility. Equality and brotherhood. We reject discrimination based on caste, race, or gender and treat everyone around us equally. Sad Sangat Ji, I'm committed to strengthening my dedication to the principle of oneness. Organizations like Khalsa Aid exemplify this by reaching out across the globe, assisting those affected by natural disasters and conflict without any discrimination. I believe I should actively look for ways to support my local community and promote the same oneness in my actions. Oneness teaches us that we are all part of one vast ocean, with each of us being unique waves, rising and falling into the ocean as part of its eternal flow. Consider how we might feel upset about a soccer tournament being canceled due to rain. But we must also think of the farmer who's been waiting for days for that very rain to nourish his crops. This understanding also ties into the concept of accepting divine will. Everything happens as it should by His hukam, and I should learn to embrace His divine order with grace. In conclusion, Vaheguru resides within us all. By following His hukam, we can experience His bliss and oneness, ultimately leading us to Mokh Duar. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Harbin Singh.
Vaheguru.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा और वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Hukum andar sab ko, ba hukum na koi. Hukum is Vaiguru's command that governs everything in this universe. It controls everything, from the movement of the stars to the smallest events in our lives. Recognizing this helps us see that everything, success, challenges, happiness, and even suffering, is part of Vaiguru's hukum. Accepting hukum doesn't mean we stop making efforts. It means that we trust whatever happens is ultimately for the best. When we live in alignment with hukum, we find peace because we stop worrying about things that are beyond our control. To truly accept hukum, you must remove your ego and have internal trust in Vaiguru's wisdom, knowing that everything happens for a reason. Instead of questioning why something happens, we should focus on learning from what has happened and grow spiritually and moving forward in a positive way. When a farmer plants seeds, waters them, and takes care of them, but in the end, it's Vaiguru's hukum that decides how the crops grow. In the same way, we should do our best in life, but trust that whatever happens is in Vaiguru's hands. Remember also that Guru Arjan Dev Ji accepted hukum, even in the face of unbearable suffering. Despite the torture, he stayed strong in his faith, knowing his sacrifice would inspire Sikhs and people everywhere for generations. Sikhism teaches that when everything happens under hukum, we still have free will to make moral and ethical choices. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we react. And this is the specific context in which we all have free will. For example, if I cheat on a test, I'm using my free will, yes, but I'm going against Vaiguru's hukum and against Sikh principles. We use our free will to make choices, whether right or wrong. Baikanaya Ji had a choice during battle. He could have seen them as enemies, wounded his enemies, but instead he chose to give water to everyone, seeing Vaiguru in awe. His action and compassion shows us that we have free will to follow the divine will through our actions. Guru Nanak Dev Ji reminds us that true righteousness, that true wisdom is the path of righteousness within the framework of hukum. Guru Nanak Dev Ji reminds us that hukum vijaya chalna, Nanak likhya na. Mok comes from the Sanskrit word moksha, meaning liberation or freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Dwar means doorway or entrance. Together, Mok Dwar signifies the gateway to spiritual liberation, where one breaks free from the cycle of life and death and unites with Vaiguru. This is not a physical door. It is a state of spiritual realization achieved through Nam Simran, Seva, and truthful living. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Manne Pave Mok Dwar. We can find Mok Dwar by aligning our lives with Vaiguru's will, with Nam Simran, Seva, letting go of ego and material attachments, and gaining and following the teachings of the Gurus. In this way, Baba Amar Das Ji walked the path of humility and selfless service before being blessed by the Guru and gained spiritual salvation with devotion to the Guru. If we live our lives with truth and honesty, we are on the path to Mokdwar. If we start the morning with Nam Simran, we are on the path to Mokdwar. If we apply the principles of Seva and truthful living into our lives, we are on the path to Mokdwar. The biggest, Guru Nanak Dev Ji reminds us, Manjite Jagjit. The biggest obstacle to Mokdwar is not the world around us, but the attachments within. There are ego, attachment to worldly possessions, and bad actions. For example, cheating on an exam, or spending all your time playing video games, thinking you are better than others at the Gurdwara just because you did seva, or lying and stealing from your parents. These actions take you further from Mokhdwar. Ekunkar embodies the idea of oneness. Ik pita ek aas ke Mubarak. This teaches us that differences based on caste, religion, or status are man-made, and true spirituality is seeing a Vaheguru in all. There are many ways I have already put this into practice. First, when a new student joins my class, I make them feel welcome, because I know how lonely that can be. I treat everyone with respect, regardless of appearance, background, whether they're older or even younger than me. Second, if I see a classmate being bullied, I stand up for them. And third, if I've organized food drives with my Boy Scout troop in my journey to an Eagle Scout, give Sachawa Hoye, give Kure to Tepal. How can I achieve oneness and lose falsehood? I will base my life on basic Sikh principles: Kirtana, Vanchakna, and Nam Japna. First, I need to focus more in school, pay attention in class, do my homework, and not get distracted by my phone or YouTube. If I don't take my education seriously, I'm wasting an opportunity to learn and grow. Second, I need to be more compassionate. Instead of always thinking about myself or material things, I can take time every day to be grateful, treat others with kindness. Third, I need to control my impulsive words. Instead of reacting with frustration or saying something hurtful, I can pause, choose kind, thoughtful words. Guru Nanak Dev Ji helps us, and in doing so, will help us build better relationships and reflect Sikh values. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ group 4 ਦਾ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਤੇ group 5 we will be starting very soon, so stay here. We'll just finish the judges notes and the next set of judges can come in and take their seats. Group 5 ਦੇ judges ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੰਗਰ ਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਦੀਵਾਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਜਾਓ, we're ready for Group 5. So Dr. Pupinder Singh and Harpreet Kaur ji. Oh sorry, Manmohan Singh ji. So ਅਸੀਂ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ fifth group ਲਈ. The topic of fifth group is Guru's way as the world viewed through the lens of Asa Diwan. I'll just say the questions for everyone. Question 1 is, how can the philosophical and ethical tenets embedded within Asa Diwan be effectively utilized to shape a contemporary Sikh worldview and subsequently serve as a foundational framework for disseminating the Guru's message in the world today? Question 2, how can the teachings and symbolism within Asa Diwan be applied to facilitate personal introspection and community reflection, enabling Sikhs to assess their individual and collective adherence to the Guru's principles and identify areas for spiritual growth and communal improvement? Question 3, Asa Diwan addresses issues of social justice, inequality, human imperfections, and spiritual liberation. How does this Bani offer hope and optimism to overcome these challenges? Cite specific examples or experiences from the Sikh world around you to support your view. With that, the first participant is Joban Singh. The allotted time is 8 minutes and the bell rings at 7 minutes 30 seconds. The second bell will be at time 8 minutes, and then there's a grace period of 30 seconds, the third bell, after which there would be a deduction in points.
Vaheguru. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. In an era marked by materialism, moral dilemmas, and social injustices, Asa Divar offers an eternal beacon of light, illuminating a path of righteousness, service, and spiritual enlightenment. Asa Divar preaches the oneness of humanity, encapsulated in Mool Mantra with Ek Onkar. Guru Nanak Dev Ji strongly rejected divisions based on caste, gender, and religion, emphasizing equality for all. Whether it's a woman facing workplace discrimination or blacks facing police brutality, as Sikhs, it is our duty to be there to help the systemically oppressed. Guru Nanak Dev Ji also denounced corrupt leadership in Asa Divar, criticizing rulers who exploited their people. Love Pak Doi Raja Mehta Kul Hoa Sikdar. This timeless teaching calls upon Sikhs today to uphold ethical leadership in all spheres of life, whether in politics, business, or community service. His teachings on material detachment remind us to balance our worldly duties with our spiritual pursuits. In an age dominated by consumerism and wealth accumulation, Sikhs must remember that true wealth lies not in riches, but in seva, simran, and righteousness. Moreover, Asa Divar reinforces that it is not enough to simply acknowledge societal injustices. We must actively combat them. From feeding the hungry to standing against systemic discrimination, the Sikh ethos calls upon us to be warriors of truth and compassion. The principles of Kirat Karna, Van Chakna, and Nam Japna are equally critical. Whether in business or employment, every Sikh must commit to ethical conduct, rejecting corruption and deceit, inspiring all to embrace a life of truth and righteousness. Sikhs must harness the power of collective action by forming a strong voting bloc to support leaders like Ravi Palla and Harmeet Dinno, who support a life of equality, justice, and service. By backing policymakers who champion religious freedom and ethical governance, we extend Guru Sahib's vision into modern institutions. Active participation in our democracy ensures that our voices drive meaningful change against corruption and injustice. At an individual level, Asa Divar serves as a tool for personal introspection. Guru Nanak Dev Ji warns us against the vices of ego, greed, and hypocrisy, flaws that exist within us all. Chori le pakhanda, naam leye jai taranda. Guru Nanak Dev Ji warns against being consumed by the panch chor, the five vices: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and Ahankar. These vices cloud our judgment, distancing us from Vaheguru and leading us astray from a life of righteousness. True spiritual growth comes not from outward appearances, but from the virtues we cultivate within. Guru Nanak Dev Ji emphasizes that ethical living, rooted in compassion, contentment, self-discipline, and truth, is the true mark of a devout person. Daya ka pa santokh sooth jat gandi satvat e janeu ji ka het pande kat. These lines serve as a direct rejection of superficial religious practices that do not transform one's character. Asa Divar urges us to examine whether we live by Sikh values of seva and honesty, or merely present them as an illusion of righteousness to the outside world. Beyond personal reflection, our Sikh institutions must also assess their adherence to Asa Divar. Are our gurdwaras truly upholding equality, or are they divided by societal biases? Are our leaders transparent and accountable, or have they succumbed to self-interest? As a community, we must engage in open discussions, Sangat-based dialogues to address these issues. We must hold Gurdwara committees accountable for the Daswan they received. Rather than assuming it's going to be used according to Sikh principles, we as a Sangat must not remain passive observers. The question remains, how do we disseminate these ideas effectively in today's world? In the digital age, Sikhs must leverage technology, media, and community outreach to spread the Guru's message globally. Social media, podcasts, and digital platforms can be powerful tools to educate and inspire. Likewise, engaging in interfaith dialogues and community service projects allows us to embody Sikh principles in action, strengthening our presence and impact in society. We can organize waste collection efforts to help both spread awareness about Sikhi and help our environment. While Asa Divar highlights social injustice and inequality, the Bani also offers hope through faith, humility, social justice, and spiritual liberation. Guru Nanak Dev Ji rejects casteism and promotes universal equality. Jaat janam na puchiye, sach kar le bataye. This principle is embodied in Langar as one of the core practices of our faith. Langar is a place where everyone sits on the same level and eats the same food, regardless of who they are or where they come from. In times of adversity, Asa Divar reminds us that staying rooted in Naam Simran, Chardi Kala, and Gurbani provides us the strength to persevere. Gona nak sach tiaye, such hove ta sach paye. Through principles of Naam Simran, Chardi Kala, and Gurbani, Sikhs can cultivate a mindset that refuses to succumb to despair, instead turning struggles into opportunities for growth and service. Naam Simran helps us remain steadfast despite life's trials, as exemplified by the ordeals and sacrifices faced by the Gurus. Jardi Kala, the Sikh principle of eternal optimism, teaches us to approach every challenge with courage and unwavering faith. Gurbani illuminates the path of righteousness, even in the darkest of times. Today, Sikh organizations and NGOs continue this mission by supporting marginalized communities and advocating for human rights. Dr. Sulaiman Singh has helped support the farmers' protest in India, giving up his career as a doctor, acting as a modern reflection of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teachings. Through legal advocacy and community outreach, Saldef fights against discrimination, reflecting Guru Sahib's message of equality and fearless resistance against oppression. Sikh youth initiatives integrate these teachings, promoting mindfulness, integrity, and service to society. This symposium exemplifies these values. It encourages self-reflection and empowers youth like me to create meaningful change in the world. In an era of stress and uncertainty, Sikh institutions like the Sikh Coalition or the Guru Nanak Society provide spiritual guidance and community support to help individuals navigate life's challenges. Humanitarian efforts like Khalsa Aid and Sikh-led environmental activism reflect Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teachings in action. By embodying the values of Asa Divar, Sikhs can continue to foster equality, compassion, and justice, ensuring that the Guru's message remains a guiding force in the modern world. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Loveleen Kaur.
Vaheguru. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਅੱਜ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਦਾ ਮੂਲ ਰੋਗ ਹੈ ਹਉਮੈ, ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਸਿਰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਚਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਨੀਵਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਤੇ, ਪਰ ਉੱਚਾ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਇਸ ਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਚਾ ਉੱਠਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਸਿਰ ਹੀ ਕਲਮ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ। ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਸਿਰ ਜੋ ਉੱਚਾ ਉੱਠਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਲਮ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਦਬਾ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਅੱਜ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੌ ਸੱਸ ਦੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਦੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ ਹਉਮੈ। ਅੱਜ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਇਹੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਚਾ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਚੱਲਾਂ, ਤੇ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੰਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਹਉਮੈ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੱਧ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਹੈ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਨਜ਼ਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਬ ਅੱਜ ਓਨਾ ਹੀ ਨੀਵਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਆਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੋਆ ਦੁਨੀਦਾਰ ਗੱਲ ਸੰਗਲ ਘੱਤ ਚਲਾਇਆ, ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਦੁਨੀਆਦਾਰ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੀ ਵੱਡੇ ਹੋਈਏ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਔਗੁਣ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਔਗੁਣ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਗਲ ਦਾ ਸੰਗਲ ਬਣਦੇ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਉਹ ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਦੇ ਗੇੜਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਲਯੁਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਇੰਨੇ ਪਾਪ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਲੋਕ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਰ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਨ ਫਿਰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਉਹੀ ਹਉਮੈ ਤੇ ਉਹੀ ਔਗੁਣ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਹਉਮੈ ਅੱਜ ਘਟਣ ਦੀ ਬਜਾਏ ਸਗੋਂ ਹੋਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਜੇਕਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੋਚੀਏ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੇ ਹਉਮੈ ਵਰਗੇ ਰੋਗ ਨੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਹਦਾ ਹੱਲ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਆਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹਉਮੈ ਦੀਰਘ ਰੋਗ ਹੈ ਦਾਰੂ ਪੀ ਇਸ ਮਾਹੇ, ਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਹਉਮੈ ਇੱਕ ਰੋਗ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਦਾਰੂ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਕਿਵੇਂ? ਸੰਤ ਮਸਕੀਨ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਉਦਾਹਰਨ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਅੰਗੂਰ ਸਿਹਤ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਅੰਗੂਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਅੰਗੂਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਿਹਤ ਲਈ ਹਾਨੀਕਾਰਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਨ। ਐਵੇਂ ਹੀ ਹਉਮੈ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਰੋਗ, ਪਰ ਜੇ ਇਸ ਹਉਮੈ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਕਰਮ ਕਰਨ ਵੱਲ ਲਗਾਵਾਂ, ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਜੇ ਕਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਕਰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਮੰਦਿਰ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਰਾਹ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਹਉਮੈ, ਪਰ ਜੇਕਰ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਧਰਮ ਵੱਲ ਲਗਾਵਾਂ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਧਰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਗੁਣ ਆ ਜਾਣ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਰਾਹ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦੇਵਾਂ, ਤੇ ਧਰਮ ਦੀ ਸ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਟ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਦਾ ਖਤਮ ਹੋਣਾ, ਭਾਵ ਹਉਮੈ ਦਾ ਖਤਮ ਹੋਣਾ। ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਉਸ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਉਸਦੀ ਹੁਕਮ ਤੇ ਰਜ਼ਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਅੱਗੇ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੋਚੀਏ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਰਾਹ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਰਾਹ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਣ ਲਈ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਆਤਮ ਨਿਰਖਣ, ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਝਾਤੀ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਦੇਖਣਾ। ਹੁਣ ਸਵਾਲ ਇਹ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਅੱਜ ਝਾਤੀ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਕਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿ ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਕਮ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਸਿੱਖਿਆਵਾਂ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਢਾਲ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਉਲਝ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਸਹੀ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਗਲਤ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੇ ਕੀ ਹੁਕਮ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਹਿਚਾਨ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਤੇ ਆਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਸ ਦਾ ਹੱਲ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰੋ। ਸਿੱਖ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਧਰਮ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ, ਖੋਜਣਾ ਤੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਨੀ, ਪਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ? ਸਿਰਫ ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਆਪਾਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਰੋਜ਼ ਨਿਤਨੇਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਪਰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੀਏ ਜੇਤੇ ਆਰਜਾ, ਪੜ੍ਹੀਏ ਜੇਤੇ ਸਾਸ, ਨਾਨਕ ਲੇਖੇ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਰ ਹਉਮੈ ਝਖਣਾ ਝਾਕ, ਕਿ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲਓ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੋਜ਼ ਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਪਰ ਜੇਕਰ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਤੇ ਲਾਗੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਸਭ ਵਿਅਰਥ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣਾ। ਕੰਮ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਆਉਣਾ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਤੇ ਲਾਗੂ ਕਰੋਗੇ। ਹੁਣ ਕਈ ਲੋਕ ਪੁੱਛਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਵੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ? ਅਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਰ ਥਾਟ ਸ਼ੇਪ ਆਰ ਮਾਈਂਡ, ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚੋ, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਇਹ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਮਾਇਆ ਇਕੱਠੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਈਰਖਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਲੰਘ ਗਿਆ, ਮੈਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ, ਜੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਗੁਰਮੁਖਾਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚੋ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਪੰਕਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਵਿਚਾਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਉੱਚਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ। ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਜੀਵਨ ਉੱਚਾ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ ਤਦ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਮਾਜ ਦਾ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਮਾਜ ਦੇ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਲਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੰਜ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਚੈਰਿਟੀ ਬਿਗਿਨਸ ਐਟ ਹੋਮ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਚੈਰਿਟੀ ਘਰ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਸਮਾਜ ਦਾ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਫਿਰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਤੋਂ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਖੁਦ ਜੀਵਨ ਮਨਮੁਖਾਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਬਣ ਜਾਣ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸੋਚੋ, ਬੱਚੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਸਿੱਖਣਗੇ ਨਾ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਤੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਬੇਮੁਖ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸੋਚ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੀ ਰਾਹ ਤੇ ਚੱਲ ਸਕਣ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਖੁਦ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਕਈ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਬਣਦੇ ਹਨ, ਫਿਰ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਸਮਾਜ ਬਣਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਮਾਜ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਕਈ ਦੇਸ਼ ਬਣਦੇ ਹਨ। ਅੱਜ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਮਾਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡਾ ਧਰਮ ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਆਧਾਰਿਤ ਹੈ, ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਕਰਤਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਕਮ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਤ ਪਾਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਜਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਨਮੁਟਾਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ, ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਹੁਕਮ ਤੋਂ ਵਿਅਰਥ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਤ ਪਾਤ ਦੇ ਆਧਾਰਿਤ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਬਣਾ ਲਏ ਹਨ, ਜਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਨੀਚਾ ਠਹਿਰਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੀ ਜਾਤ ਉੱਚੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਨੀਵੀਂ। ਸੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਆਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਲੋੜੇ ਚੰਗਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਰ ਪੁੰਨ ਨੀਚ ਸਦਾਈਐ। ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਤੂੰ ਚੰਗਾ ਕੰਮ ਵੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪੁੰਨ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਨੀਵੀਂ ਜਾਤ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਥੱਲੇ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਹਉਮੈ ਵਰਗਾ ਔਗੁਣ ਨਾ ਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਆਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਹੋਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਨਾ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਭ ਕੋ ਆਖੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਸ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਸੋਚਨ ਕੱਢੀਐ, ਕੀਤਾ ਆਪੋ ਆਪਣਾ ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਲੇਖਾ ਸੰਡੀਐ। ਜੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਐਤ ਜਗ, ਜੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਐਤ ਜਗ, ਤਾਂ ਕਾਇਤ ਗਾਰਬ ਹੰਡੀਐ। ਮੰਦਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਆਖੀਐ, ਪੜ ਅੱਖਰ ਇਹੋ ਬੁੱਝੀਐ, ਮੂਰਖੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾ ਲੁੱਝੀਐ। ਆਖਿਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਸਾਰ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਖਾਲਕ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਹੁਕਮ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ। ਸਭ ਇੱਕ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਸਭ ਹੈ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸਹਿਜ ਕੌਰ।
बलहारी गुर आपने द्योहाड़ी सदवार जिन मानस ते देवते किए करत ना लागी वार वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Sad Sangat Ji, Asa Diwar, the ballad of hope. Not only is it said to fulfill hopes and dreams, but more importantly, Asa Diwar gives us the opportunity to transform. And Sad Sangat Ji, to be a Sikh is to transform. Jin manas te devte kiye, devta ki hunda. In a time when each and every way that God could be worshipped was given an individual form, an individual devta, the power of the sun, of creation, of destruction, all of these powers of the universe, these functions of God, Guruji Kandeya, my Guru is so unparalleled that he makes us into functions of God. We are here on this earth to become functions of God. But how do we do that? How do we become something that God does? Balhari gur apne, dyohari sadwar. Sacrifice, you surrender, you give up your sense of me. Forget that you are anything important, anything of value, that you as a person, your sense of self, your individuality exists at all. It doesn't. Give up the delusion that life is about my story. Life is about Sach. And Sach Sangat Ji is truth, not truth, permanence. We are all impermanent, we are all here to die, and thus we are false. The only truth, the only permanent essence in the world is that life force behind us. And how does this affect our worldview as Sikhs? Sad Sangat Ji, the Sikh worldview is that I am nothing. I am here as a servant to my master, my Akal Purakh. And since everybody's jot is a part of that Sache Padshah, I am here as a servant to the people. Once we decenter off ourselves, we can face the corruption and injustice in the world. Once we see ourselves as unimportant, we will treat others as important with kindness and grace. And this is the Sikh worldview. There is an English phrase called walk the talk. But Guru Sad Sangat Ji, our 10 gurus walked before they talked. Sade Panjਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ Shri Guru Arjan Sahib Ji ne apna sees ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ. फिर भाई दयाला जी, भाई मती दास जी, भाई सती दास जी, फिर गुरु तेग बहादुर ने अपना सीस किसी होर धर्म ਲਈ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਤੇ फिर ही गुरु गोबिंद सिंह साहिब ने खालसे तो सीस मंगिया. They walked before they talked. So we spread this message, we disseminate this message by becoming that devta and leading by example. Then Guruji even gives us the exact diseases we are fighting. Haume tirag rog hai, daru piye smahe. Ego is the ultimate evil, the ultimate disease. When you have ego, you are riddled with dukh and a love of duality. The idea that I am here and Guru Sahib is there, no. Guru Sahib is the force behind every living being. Kudrat disa, kudrat suniya, kudrat pao sukhsar. This love for duality is something I actually suffer with greatly. And I can admit that, to be honest, when I sat down to write this speech, it was the first time I had really looked into or tried to understand the meaning of Asa Diwar. Recently, I had been struggling with duality, with ego, actually. Being so focused on myself to the point where it became difficult for me to go outside because I couldn't bear the thought of what people thought about me. I was so focused on myself, I would justify every fight, every conflict, not trying to understand the other person's perspective. A constant, what about me? What are people thinking about me? But analyzing Asa Diwar has helped me understand and see my ego, my duality, and seeing it is half the solution itself. And Guruji goes on to list each and every example of ego, of impurity. Padiya jeti arja, padiya jete saas, nanak lekha ek gal, hor homme chakhna chak. He doesn't sugarcoat his words. He wanted us to know each and every practice that was false, especially the religious ones. Baupekh kiya de hi dukh diya, sove jiya apna kiya. Guruji criticizes the hypocrisy of reading spiritual wisdom, dressing religiously, going on pilgrimage without understanding them and being true to them. Now in our modern day and age, we can think of in our everyday Diwan, in our das, it goes on for 20 minutes because of the amount of families that have their names that they did langar seva, they did a donation. What is the point of your seva? What is the point of your donation if you are so proud about it, if you need everybody to know? Kirtan, when you do kirtan, but you are more focused on your performance, your audible aesthetic, than the actual Shabad itself. This is what Guruji is criticizing. So now we know what our issue is. We know what our human imperfections are and what we need to do to attain spiritual liberation. But tu karta karna mein nahi, jaho kari na hoi. He says, you do everything, I cannot do anything. Even if I try, nothing happens. Gyan na galli tundiya, kathna karda sar. Guruji says that the only way to attain this level of spiritual liberation is by his grace. There is nothing we can do. So what do? We beg for it. Shamelessly teet hoke, we beg for it. Understand that you are false, you are impure, you are nothing. Accept it and surrender. Sache Padshah is grateful. If you wish for something with all your heart, Akal Purkh Vaheguru will bless you. And once we are blessed with that naam, with that sach, we become the hope and optimism for others in the world. We must speak up for justice against the norm today. If we keep sitting here being saints, reading part and not understanding the meaning, not implementing the Gurbani behind it in our own lives, we are exactly who Guru Sahib is criticizing. If you are going to recite and hold pride over the lines, "So kyo manda akhiye, jit jamme rajan," then speak up for women's rights today. The SAVE Act is a bill that is in review right now that would require all potential voters to provide 2 proofs of citizenship in person, which not only already restricts our voter rights, but also anyone whose legal name doesn't match their birth certificate, meaning wives who have changed their last names to their spouses' names, would be ineligible to vote. If you are going to preach about inequality, speak up about deportation. The US cannot afford to deport that many illegal immigrants. They are not sending them all to Mexico, but what are they doing? ICE has already started building deportation camps and prison camps to contain all of these illegal immigrants. And not only that, they have also started picking up Native Americans as we go too. This is an excuse to imprison and steal the property, wealth, and land of people of color. For example, we can have Deep Sidhu. He was just a filmmaker. He had cut his hair. He had little experience in Sikhi, but he understood the political corruption Punjab was in at the time. He took a stand and he transformed in absolutely no time. Jin manas te devte kiye karat na lagi var. And what did he become? An indispensable force in the farmers' protests and in the overall mindset of Punjab. Sad Sangat Ji, I want to leave you today with a call to action. Our rights are being taken away from us right in front of our eyes. The corruption, the impurity, the falsehood that Guru Nanak Sahib Ji speaks about isn't in some faraway country. It's happening right here, right now, right in our own front yard. So wake up and speak up. Execute those principles you recite in your everyday Bani. Gurmukh jaag rahe din rati. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਨਕਲੂਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਗਰੁੱਪ 5 ਤੇ ਗਰੁੱਪ 5 ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਜੈਕਾਰਾ ਲਾਈਏ। ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। Just 10 minutes break. We are ready with results. Only 5th group ਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, but just 10 minutes break. Please come back quickly. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਚਾਹ ਪੀ ਲਈ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਬੈਠੇ ਰਹੋ, ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੇਤੀ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟਸ ਰੈਡੀ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।